Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to add numbers using the column method. This method is incredibly easy to catch on to, and it'll work with any size of number, no matter how big or small. Most of the time people will use it to add up larger numbers or numbers with decimals, because smaller numbers can generally be done in your head. That is why this video will focus on adding multi-digit numbers, numbers with decimals, and how to add a list of numbers at the same time. Let's get into it. We've been told to add 674 and 365 using the column method. This is how we do it. Our first step is to write the numbers on top of each other. Now we have to make sure that everything's aligned. What I mean by that is that all the numbers in the ones place have to be on top of each other, all of the numbers in the tens place have to be on top of each other, and so on, so on. A trick for this is that if the ones are aligned, everything's going to be aligned. And this rule is going to apply to any problem using the column method. So remember, if the ones place are aligned, everything's going to be in the right place. Okay, now we can begin adding. We usually put a line underneath to keep the answer separate from the question. So what we're going to be adding is placed above the line, and our answer is going to end up coming below the line. When we begin adding, you have to make sure that you start from the furthest place right and work left. So 4 plus 5 is equal to 9. And we're going to write that 9 right under here. Okay, great. So now we're going to move on to the tens place. 7 plus 6 is equal to 13. This is where it gets slightly more difficult. So we only have room for one digit under here, and 13 is a two-digit number. If we were to write 13 under here, the 1 would be in the way for when we add the hundreds. So instead of writing 13 under here, we're going to leave the 3 in this spot, and we're going to carry the 1 up into the hundreds place. When we add up the hundreds, we're going to add it like we usually do, but we're going to also add the 1 with it. 6 plus 3 plus 1 is equal to 10. And we're given the same situation again. We only have space for one digit under here, but 10 is a two-digit number. So we're going to leave the 0 under here and carry the 1 up. Well, you might be asking, there's no other numbers to add that 1 with. In this situation, we're allowed to use 0 as a placeholder. We are allowed to do this because adding the 0 here doesn't change the value of 365 or 674. It's just to help us visualize what we're going to be adding the 1 with. The 1 plus 0 is obviously 1. Most of the time people don't write the zeros in, they just assume that they're there, but I wanted to write them out to show you what we're doing. So after we've made sure that we've added up all of the numbers there, we're going to have a final number right here. 1039 is going to be our answer. See, and that's really all there is to it. I'm going to show you a few more examples that get a little bit more complicated, but that's seriously the hardest part of it. This example is going to show us how to do it with some bigger numbers. I know it looks a lot more scary, but it's really the same as what we did last time. It's just going to take a little bit longer. Our first step is to stack the numbers on top of each other. When we do this, it's good practice to put the larger number on top with the smaller on bottom. This actually doesn't matter too much with the addition method, but when you come to use it with the subtraction version, you need to master this step. Do you remember that trick that I said for lining them up? If the ones place is aligned, everything's aligned. Even though it looks like it might be off a little bit because it's hanging over on this side, don't worry about it, we'll get to that in a second. All you need to worry about is if the ones place is lined up. So 7 plus 2 is 9, and we'll put the 9 right under here. 3 plus 9 is 12, but remember, we only have space for one digit under here, and 12 is a two-digit number. So we write the 2 under here and carry the 1 up into the hundredths place. 8 plus 4 plus the 1 that's up there is equal to 13. So we put the 3 under here and carry the 1 up. 4 plus 4 plus the 1 is equal to 9. 5 plus 2 is 7. And remember from the last example how we were adding 1 and there wasn't a number under here? We had to use something called a placeholder. And it's okay if we do that here as well. 1 plus 0 is equal to 1. And that gives us an answer of 179,329. Now that we've learned how to add really big numbers, we're going to try to add a list of numbers. Firstly, we're going to want to line them up. And now we can start adding. 7 plus 2 plus 0 plus 5 plus 2 is equal to 16. 0 plus 3 plus 9 plus 9 plus 2 plus 1 is equal to 24. 9 plus 8 plus 4 plus 1 plus 2 is equal to 24. And finally, 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. And that gives us a total of 3,446. Now let's try an example with decimals. We first need to stack these numbers into the column. I want you to pause this video for just a second and think about how you want to line them up. If you said to line them up like this, you would be incorrect. Remember the phrase that I've said for the last two problems? If the ones place is aligned, everything's aligned. And this applies to decimals as well. This is the correct way to align them. I know that it looks a little strange and it looks pretty misaligned, but as long as you follow the rule of having the ones place in the right place, everything's going to be okay. As always, we're going to start working from the right and move left. So remember how we used zeros for placeholders in the earlier examples? We're also allowed to use them when it's past the decimal point. Putting a 0 here isn't going to change the value of the decimal. 0 plus 0 plus 9 is equal to 9. 2 plus 0 plus 3 is equal to 5. 2 plus 5 plus 7 is equal to 14. 4 plus 0 plus 1 plus 1 is equal to 6. 8 plus 8 plus 1 is equal to 17. And finally, 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. And our answer is going to be 276.459. And there you go. Now you know how to use the column addition method. As I said earlier, this method will work on any number, regardless of size, shape, or color. I hope that this was helpful. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, please comment them down below and I'll be more than happy to help you out.